How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody's doing well. A lot going on, right? And so I just want to, and this has nothing to do with what's going on, but I just want to show you something real quick. Okay, see this right here? Okay, see the blue, the sun in the middle, and here comes a comet, right? Watch this. Yeah. Okay, blammo. We got a whiteout, a flash. There's the moon, and there's Saturn. This is actually the introduction theme opening to Star Trek New Generation. um, and I, I just, I laugh when I see that talking about, the comets, the taking out of the sun, what happened here, blah, blah, blah. But, that aside, there's some other big things going on. Of course, everyone's heard about the Bible verses that Trump is going to be reading from the Oval Office. Okay, now it's a pre-recorded thing, so I don't think he's actually going to be in the Oval Office. I think he's still going to be in Israel at the time of that. And I just want to throw something out here, okay? So there's a lot of people talking about this particular reading, comparing it to King Solomon. Very well. They just changed the names, right? So it is what it is. But, one of the things about that was when King Solomon gave his speech and his prayer for the dedication of the new temple, because Solomon is credited with creating the first temple. Now, if we invert that, he probably restored the first temple, the first body. The first body was created from source, God, whatever you want to label it as. Okay? So he could be, restoring the first temple. Because, according to the Bible, right here, after he gave his speech, fire descended from heaven after finishing his dedication to the temple. So that, and a lot of people, especially in this day and age, are talking about, sudden destruction, nuclear weapons. I've said that, this talk about nuclear is just time jumps. Although we did lose our 11th scientist. I haven't looked a whole lot into that. That was just on the news feed. I don't know if he, like I said, if he was a nuclear scientist or what, but that could signify the 11, one going back to that first temple. And also the exact verses that he's going to be reading. I think it's like 7:11 through 7:22, which in one of his speeches a while back, talking about 9/11, there was a slip up supposedly, and he said 7:11, so he could have been pointing to this speech. 7:11 through 22. That could very well be the 11:11 because 22 is just 11 again, right? So that could be that 11:11 mirror, mirror moment, going back to that first temple. Fire from the sky could also be, with that event being a couple days down the road, we could get a big CME blast off the sun, like today, going into tomorrow, tonight kind of thing that actually hits us at that time. But personally, it's like I've said before, I think the sudden destruction comes, the twinkle of an eye, all that stuff is at the same time. And what I do find, and like I said, I think the twinkle of an eye just is a flash in their pineal gland. That's how everybody, is going to see it. That's because these are personal things that happen. The other thing that I found kind of interesting is, in the part that he's reading, it talks about the destruction of Babylon, blah, blah, blah. But, Mark Allison over there, and I watch a lot of his stuff, Because he's, I watch a lot of different people who see things differently than what everybody else is pushing. But one of the things that he brought up when it talks about the healing of the land, that's also mentioned in Jeremiah 51:9, okay? And it talks about the possibility of Babylon being healed before its prophesied destruction. Okay, now it's already been destructed or destroyed, destructed. But the thing that I find amazing in here is it says, and let us go everyone into his own country. Okay, and like I said, I think Trump's gonna still be in Israel. That's his country. He's their Messiah. Okay, and it even talks in the Bible about the Jews accepting whatever. Yeah, their Messiah is not ours. I'm just saying. But anyway, going back to the rest, being restored, and going back to your own country, because I've said before that everything here is just a remnant. All these land masses that we call countries with borders and everything else, they're just remnants of planets that used to be. So everybody's going to go back home to their appropriate home. That's how that works. Wherever you come from before you were here is where we go back to. That's everything being restored. And I've often said that the seas, the oceans, symbolize space. Now, space isn't an ocean, but because that would require another sealed container, right? No. It's just symbolic that way here. So like when you watch Star Trek, the Enterprise zips around at warp speed everywhere, and as it comes up to a planet, it slows down, goes into orbit, and the key part there is slowing down, because what happens when ships come towards the shore? They hit a place called a no-wake zone. They have to slow down. The very first sailing ships, so to speak, did not cruise the oceans with sails and da-da-da-da-da. Those are probably symbolic of spaceships that used a thing called solar sails. Not solar energy like what you stick on your roof to get electricity. They're a big sail that captures the solar winds that move them through the planetary system. So those ships were actually designed for not incredibly large, like star-to-star travel. You have to stay within the star's grasp to give you that solar energy to push it. Just the way I see it. So anyway, as soon as the speech is done, fire comes down. That could be our 11/11 moment, the restoration of the first temple instead of the destruction. And that kind of goes hand in hand with the ashes. We passed the ashes part. We built that temple. Pretty sure that's the one we're in. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to throw some of that since it's all over the news. And yeah, people are really talking about, which, and rightfully so. There's a lot of people looking at these times that we're in. So it is what it is. That's just my take for the day. Y'all have a wonderful day. Stay safe. There's still crappy weather going on everywhere. It's just part of it. It's the remnant too. When people, I had a comment one time that said, we didn't have an ice age. Well, that's where all this ice came from. All this cold weather. Because I'm pretty sure the planet once had a tropical climate from pole to pole. So the ice is also remnant from the ice age, just like all the rain, remnant, and it's all symbology. It's all, the weather is much a prop on the world stage as everything else, as the people. It's all a prop. It is what it is. So anyway, like I said, have a great day. Love you all. Take care. Bye-bye.